Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. Introduce me. My name is Fatiah Handayani, and my research team is Kamila and Nurhayati. Allow me to deliver my research presentation in this event. Event is Paris Panjava International Seminar on Health, Economics, Social Science and Humanities 2000. We came from Stickers Aisyah Bandung. For the first, I want to deliver about my research abstract. We know that Indonesian data currently show that there are problems that threaten adolescents, namely sexuality, HIV/AIDS, and drugs. And this study aims to analyze the implementation of the disposition of policies to support the success of adolescents' reproductive health education. Our research methods are descriptive, exploratory, and data collection done by observation, interview, and documentation. And we analyze the data by transcription, coding, and data reduction. And the result and the conclusion from this research is there is commitment of teachers and principals in implementing learning about adolescents' reproductive health, as well as the incentive aspect of being given incentive for teachers who provided material or were involved in activities. And then I would to like the background of our research is at present the basic problems of adolescent reproductive health are sexuality, HIV/AIDS, and NAFSA, or known as the three basic traits of adolescent reproductive health, or triad KRR, which still show serious condition. The lack of access to education, adolescents' reproductive health services is the duty of the government to hold equal distribution, as stated in the Law Number 52 of 2009 concerning population development and family development, that attempts to improve the quality of adolescents are made through providing access to information, education, counseling, and services about family life. We found in study of Adila et al. 2017 showed that from a sample of adolescents, 1,419 had sexual relation without condom protection during sexual intercourse. And we see too in the data from UNAIDS cited by Utami 2018 in Indonesia, the incidence of HIV reached 0.19 per 1,000 population. Indonesia is the third highest number of people living with HIV/AIDS and new case of infection in the Asia-Pacific region after India and China. And the death rate due to AIDS in Indonesia also increased steadily up to 68%. And this case happened in 2016, so that it has an impact on the severity of the challenges of the Indonesian people to achieve the goal of sustainable development goals in 2030. And transmission of HIV/AIDS described in the exposure of Utami's research revealed that disease transmission focused on key population group, of which is nafza injection user, or we call it a drug user. Other background, other reason that we do our research is stated by Ramdhani. Policy is defined as a series of program plans, activities, action, decision, attitudes to act or not to act, carried out by the parties or actors as part of problem-solving phase. And then, implementation of the policy is defined as an implementation of the decision of plan, whether it is executive, legislative, or judicial, or as stated by Van Meter and Van Horn. And then, policy implementation is action carried out either by individuals or officials or groups of government or privates, which aim to achieving the objectives outlined by the offline in the policy decision. Implementation of reproductive health policy is an attempt to achieve national development goals through population control and health, which currently focuses on fulfilling individual reproductive rights rather than merely solving population and development problems. And our result in research in 2019 show the previous studies by the author saw aspects of positive disposition in the implementation of reproductive health education in one junior high school in Bandung Regency. According to the policy theory of George Edward, cited by Arif et al., the factors that influence the success of the policy are communication, resources, bureaucratic structure, and disposition factors. And the purpose of this study is to analyze the role of disposition toward in the implementation of health policy, including aspects of commitment and incentive for policy implementers. Our research method is qualitative research to describe a phenomenon systematically, and the subject of the research are policymakers and implementers of the policies. They are teachers and principals. The samples involved were 5 teachers and 2 principals. The research location at Muhammadiyah Fort Margahayu Middle School, Aisyah Middle School, and Aisyah Ranca Ekek Middle School in Bandung Regency. Data collection is done through observation, interviews, and documentation studies. The data are analyzed with the stage of transcription, coding, and data reduction. Then the data is presented in the form of terms and conclusion are drawn. And the result for our research consists of 2 aspects. The first aspect is commitment. Commitment aspect in the implementation of adolescent reproductive health policies. Based on the result of the study, it was found that learning about reproductive health in junior high school Muhammadiyah Bandung district saw a commitment from the implementers of the policy, namely the teachers. And then the reproductive health learning policy is carried out with good commitment from the school principal, the teachers, and students. The implementers, teacher, in both study sites have shown a commitment to provide learning about adolescent reproductive health, even though the material is limited and there are no guidelines or manuals. Most respondents convey the same information, even though their educational background is not held. but they run long-running school program. The commitment of the implementers was also shown in the respondent statement about making the presenter schedule. The schedule is set annually and the teacher present material alternately. And the second aspect of our research is incentive. Incentive aspect in implementing adolescent reproductive health policies. The research showed the existence of a budget for this activity, as stated by the student section of Aisyah Rancaikek Middle School that the school makes a program at the beginning of the year as well as its budget in student affairs as for other student activity units. As for the report, the principal of the junior high school will receive an activity report at the end of the year or if needed at any time. And then incentive for implementers who provide learning material for adolescent reproductive health in the feminism program are given, even though the respondent didn't specify the amount and was given according to the schedule of attendance to give the material. Next topic or subtopic in this article, we would like to deliver the discussion in this part. The first discussion is we discuss about the commitment. Commitment is needed by everyone to reach the goal set. Building commitment requires effort that must be done early on when someone does a job or joins an institution or company or other agency. Agencies must provide positive treatment in order to form a favorable image for everyone involved in it. According to Wacana, quote by Kusumastuti et al., two essential things to build a commitment are the leadership style shown in daily attitudes or action and the principle that the action is an essential factor rather than words. Policymakers and policy implementers sometimes have a different view, and policy implementation process requires cooperation with and through a series of actors and organizations to communicate the objective. Availability of resources, sense of ownership of the implementers of the task assigned, and conflict management and effort to maintain positive attitude if there is a change in policy. There are fundamental challenges faced when implementing policies. One of them is implementation responsibilities which sometimes differ in understanding or acceptance among policymakers. And other research by Mayer and Herskopik cited by Vida Hartana, commitment is a mindset that binds individually to a series of actions that are relevant to one or several targets. If there is a change in the program, then efforts should be made to maintain the program by involving all of its contribution from the government or the private sectors because sometimes there were delays, renegotiation of responsibility and confusion. Pardon me, I don't see my presentation, my slide clearly. Okay. Renegotiation of resource and responsibilities, and confusion among the beneficiaries of the programs. Another research show the result of the study mentioned the influence of certain people on adolescent access to reproductive health information and services, namely peers, parents, family, teachers, and health workers. Efforts to keep someone a member of a profession or occupation, then that person will believe and accept the values of work and their desires. The last aspect in disposition in disposition is incentive. Incentives are needed as a form of appreciation of those involved in the policy implementation process. According to the result of the study, it showed that the school, through the principal's policy, budgeted the feminism program budget, including the provision of incentives for the material deliverer, even though the nominal amount remained unknown. As conveyed in the research of Rahmat et al., incentives can be given in financial and non-financial or material and non-material form reasonably, so that officers who do not carry out their duties do not receive incentive. According to Suad Hunan in EFI Research 2009, incentives are wages given to increase work motivation. Meanwhile, according to Handoko 2002 from the Julabi, incentives are stimulants offered to employees to carry out work according to or higher than the standard set. The provision of incentive in the form of money for teachers who provide feminism material is intended as a strategy to increase school productivity and efficiency. As reinforced from the result of Wakito's research cited by Nurhayati, that monetary incentives can affect work motivation and serve as an addition to the basic salary that was previously received. Incentives serve as an effort to increase work motivation, in addition to other factors, namely the work situation, opportunities for training and self-development, and job security. Related to the number of incentives that remain unknown in this study, whether appropriate or not, then delivered in the research of Ditlopo et al. Sometimes in some countries they have limited guidance on how to implement a financial incentive strategy that will have an impact on achieving goals. For example, there is inequality or unequal treatment, so incentive becomes a problem in decreasing performance and motivation. Lastly, I would like to conclude our research. The conclusion of the research is the success of policies in reproductive health programs depends on the aspect of disposition, including commitment and incentives. As for the incentive side, it is provided even though the nominal amount or guideline amount given remained unknown. The result of this study recommend further research in broader aspect of commitment, For example, the values that each person has to support commitment. And this research, we would like to say thanks to all participants especially. The result of the research is the development of a small study on reproductive health policies funded by the Ministry of Research Technology and Higher Education. The author would like to thank all parties involved in this research, especially participants and our institution Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Kesehatan Aisyah Bandung. And last, thanks for everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.